Okay, in this video, I will give my insights about the equinox, the September equinox 2023. The equinox is the time when the sun enters Libra. We spoke about Libra in the previous posts and video when I spoke about the meaning of the change of nodal axis and the axis Aries Libra. So you can refer to either videos on YouTube or the website archangel-michael.us. So in this one, we will focus on the meaning of the equinox and the charts. I've spent the equinox I celebrated with groups for many years. Unfortunately, this year I am not. But in my heart and mind, this is a very important time because I connected to the Archangel Michael. So let's see what we have here in terms of transits. The first thing that everyone is talking about is all those beautiful triangles. As you know, my way to look at astrology is slightly different. Astrology is a map into our soul and into the energies that we have to understand in order to better use them or surrender depending on the transits. But it is also a map into the purpose of the divine or the path of the creator whose consciousness is embodied through the galaxy. So as we are part of the galaxy, we are part of the story. And if we understand and we communicate through astrology with the creator heart mind, then it is much easier for us to become co-creators. So let's start with a beautiful triangle between Mercury in Virgo, communication, the moon in Capricorn, and Jupiter, Uranus here in Taurus. Well, moon, old feelings, and a thinking process based on the past, eventually the subconscious mind. Well, it is time for us to focus on moving from this old thinking or these old thinking patterns to the higher mind, Mercury, if we want to be able to receive and support the shift that is concocted here by the merging of the energies of Jupiter and Uranus. The moon is in Capricorn, in detriment. Therefore, everything that has to do with the old path, Capricorn, the old god, Saturn, ruler of the Capricorn, also the male power, all of this has to be understood and then let go of so that we can harmoniously participate in the building of the future. The moon is connected to Saturn, the old male god, Yaweh, and all this is the past. We need to be ready for the future. We have choices as evidenced by the two quinsucs, sorry for my accent, 150 degrees here between Saturn and the Sun and Mars and Jupiter, Uranus. So this shows that we have choices. We need to take the right action in the same way that Saturn dissolves and reduces the weight of matter. A new type of form is available, fermented, prepared in the field by the bull, in the field of Taurus, during the last lunar nodal axis. We spent 18 months under the energies of Taurus Scorpio, so transmuting everything so that the transmutation of matter as an alchemical process can happen through the entrance of Saturn and the path of Saturn, the journey through Pisces. So it's up to us to let go enough of the past, the competition, the old path of initiation, in order to follow the process. For a full disclosure, we might have to wait until April 2024. Well, disclosure, I mean, of course, I spoke about ET a lot, and we will go back to that alien disclosure, but also disclosure in terms of what can trigger the big shift. The exact conjunction is on April. Okay, so this is just a cleaned up chart with the triangle Sun, Mercury, Moon, and Jupiter, Uranus as it is at this point. Okay, so we need to go to the next. Okay, so the closest conjunction Uranus-Jupiter will occur in April 2024. And of course, it's going to be a great, extraordinary time, but because these planets are so heavy duty, we are already feeling the weight of the energy, and this is what is bringing uncertainty or chaos in some people's mind. It's up to us to participate and make the right choices so that we can go along and harvest the blessings instead of going into sadness or confusion. Of course, I have to say for the listeners that what it can trigger, of course, problems on in the financial system, changes in our approach to nature, climate changes, also our relationship with sensuality and the pleasure of living in the body. Okay, so a lot of things here, but we will go deeper along with this presentation. What is interesting here is that Mercury and Chiron are closer and closer. So for me, this is part of the healing. Astrologers are speaking about the huge impact of Chiron on our souls and psyche at this point. We need to heal ourselves, clear our wounds, and there is a possibility. But I believe that the axis, the nodal axis, showing in force a great download of the divine energy through Aries, and a change in the communication with the divine and with our Creator God. So you can refer to my website for that. I spoke a lot about this subject. Okay, and there is also a video, I think. So there is also, it is my understanding, there is also a change that is necessary in how we communicate with the divine. Mars is sextile Uranus, Jupiter, and Pluto. So we are changing the language of the past. You see the opposition here. Moon, language of the past, is the moon is in Libra. So the moon needs to go through the energy of the Libra Aries axis and aligned with the spiritual north and with the new type of energy that we can perceive and receive from our Creator God. Or maybe this is our chance to witness finally a shift about aliens. We'll see. Right now, there is still something going on that is important. Let's go back. We'll go back to the chart of the equinox. Okay. Back to the chart of the equinox. What we see here is the trine Uranus, Pluto, Uranus, Jupiter, heavyweights, they are associated anyway, and Pluto here. This is easing the shift. It is a blessing. The energy is no more conflictual, and we are now really receiving all the possible help to be able to be ready and act in the right direction. However, the North Node here is still square Pluto. So the aim, the goal is in front of us. We are preparing, but we are not fully ready. And this is indicated by all the heavy weights going retrograde. Okay, Pluto is retrograde, Saturn is retrograde, Neptune is retrograde, the node, Chiron, as well as Uranus and Jupiter. So this shows that there is still something that we need to understand or becoming aware of and do. So, okay, this is a simplified version of the equinox chart. We removed on the lines in the middle so that it's easier to look at. But we have added this axis here. This is the lunar nodal axis with the North Node signaled here and across at 180 degrees, the position of the South Node. What is interesting is that the South Node is conjunct the star Spica. So who and what is Spica? Spica is Alpha Virginis, which means the brightest star in the Virgo constellation. It's located here at the bottom and close to the ecliptic. The word Spica means ear of wheat, so Spica is the Virgo's ear of wheat. What it shows and what it represents is the harvest. So this is a goddess connected to abundance, but it's also saying to us, you need to work if you want to harvest. So the point that I want to make is that not far from Spica, we have Ceres, the goddess Ceres Demeter, a few degrees apart. So Ceres is going away, okay? The other point is that the Sun is conjunct the supergalactic center, which is located at the center of the Virgo supercluster. What it means is that there is a will coming from the Creator for an adjustment of the solar consciousness with a higher level of frequency, marked by the supergalactic center. So we are speaking about two levels here. At your level, the need to reset your soul and connect to your solar self, but at the galactic level, the need to reset a story. And this is what we will go through. Let's go further and get a little more information about Spica. This glyph here is called the Kabbalistic symbol for Spica. It is attributed to Hermes, or taught by Cornelius Agrippa. I researched the 3 books of occult philosophy, where the information is coming from. Well, there is no way to verify if this is true or not. Anyway, I thought we could make an interesting digression through what is called the language of the birds, la langue des oiseaux in French. This is a way to understand things. The language of the bird is the language of symbology, connectedness, the esoterical language. If we know how to read the symbols, if we know how to find the hidden meaning behind the veil, then we will understand things better, the characters, their stories, and we will see how everything is holographic, fractal, and connected. Everything is whole. So let's have some fun. This is again the representation of Virgo with Spica, very visible, and the ecliptic here. Why did my brain react reading that Spica, the glyph for Spica, was invented by Thoth Hermes? Well, because Hermes is also Thoth Otehuti in Egypt and happens to be in the astrological chart named Mercury. Mercury is the ruler of Virgo. We have also signaled that on the day of the equinox, there is an alignment that is taking place between the Sun in Libra and the supergalactic center in Virgo. So Mercury, Thoth, the father of esoterical knowledge, are involved in our story. So let's have fun with it. The introduction of alchemy is also attributed to Hermes or Mercury, true alchemy being self-transformation activated by 2 of the planets that we are speaking about, Pluto and Mercury, the higher mind. For those interested in details and serious study of spirituality, I recommend reading my books. There is a sale going on, and I'm not very good at advertising, so I would recommend you to go to the website and look at the table of contents. In the past, and it's still available for those who have eyes to see, as people didn't read, all the esoterical tradition was explained on the walls of the cathedrals. This is Chartres, the portal, one of the portals, and it shows intricate sculptures, each of them having a very specific meaning. Again, the main message that I would like to confer is that everything is connected, and there is a need for us to connect directly with the consciousness that uses the Milky Way, our galaxy, as its body of expression. Connecting to this consciousness will allow and support the shift that Mother Earth is going through. So it is my belief that the hidden, the esoterical and extraordinary message in this chart, in the chart of the 2023 September equinox, has to do with 2 celestial bodies. One is Ceres, represented here on the left, and the other one is Neptune. Also signaled on this chart, the connection of the Sun with the supergalactic center at the bottom in yellow. Why do I bring Ceres in the picture? Well, because it has been mentioned by others, and specifically in the context of the grand trine that is represented here, means this blue triangle connecting Ceres on the left, Vesta in Cancer on the right, and then Saturn at the bottom. I personally do not believe in the return of the goddess per se. The next world is a world of balance between the masculine and the feminine energy. I believe in the rehabilitation and adjustment of the feminine beauty and power. Because of the mandatory fall into matter and darkness, the mother, the great principle embodied by the planet, became the initiatrix. Later on, this role was taken over by Ceres Demeter. This meant sexual rituals still practiced in various forms worldwide. One remnant of this is Samhain, the tantric feast bringing, quote, illumination from the womb of the goddess. The role of the initiatrix was later embodied in the story of Ceres Demeter, who initiated the mysteries. And this story was transferred later on to the masses as Halloween. At this point, involving the male dominant energy carried by Pluto and the Capricorn. That's why Pluto was on the picture too. So we have several aspects of the feminine represented here. Ceres, the mother, part of the grand trine. Persephone, her daughter, who was kidnapped by Pluto. And at the bottom, Vesta. So what does this triangle represent? What does it bring in terms of energy? Well, the adjustment that was offered by the sun, we spoke about that earlier. The adjustment is that instead of focusing on what is happening in the underworld with Pluto, who kidnapped Persephone, we have to focus on a different type of feminine energy. And this one is embodied by Vesta. Vesta is the goddess of the hearth. She's at home and she's also a virgin. So we are now speaking about a feminine energy that is not forcibly connected to rituals, to sex, but to the higher principle, means Mercury. We are back to Thoth, Hermes, Mercury, the higher mind, and the need to focus on spiritual self-consciousness. Without trying to insist too much on this story, this grand trine signals the end of the mysteries, which means also the end of all the system based on those, quote, mysteries, secrecy, and the habit of the dominant force of patriarchy. But there is more. Let's go to the next slide. Another detail on this chart of September equinox is the position of the god or the planet Neptune. Neptune is at the bottom of the chart here, at 180 degrees of the sun, in opposition on the top of the chart. Neptune is the two faces God. It embodies the illusion at the lower level, the deception, the lies. We already mentioned that we need to stop all the secrecy and the lies from the past. We need to reach a higher level of self-understanding and spirituality based on love, intuition, the higher aspect of Neptune. What do we see when we are looking at the ocean? A vast, powerful, beautiful space, but we can't see what is going on underneath. So we are at the time when everything has to be revealed and put into the light. And if there is an opposition between the Sun and Neptune, if all the planets are going retrograde, it is because, or the reason why, we have not finished unearthing and removing all the illusions and all the secrets. So let's go further. In the cosmology, or the story of the galaxy, there is another message that is given in the story of the Lyra. By the way, this is all explained in my last book, Who is Your Creator God? The lyre, or cosmic musical instrument, sends out the frequencies that have to be uploaded by humans. The lyre was created by Mercury. Mercury gave it to the solar god, Apollo, who in turn gave it to Orpheus, who had to become an initiate to visit the underworld, the realm of Pluto, still square to the north node. So we see here the connection between Mercury, the Sun, in opposition to Neptune, secrecy, and the story of Orpheus, who had to visit Pluto in the underworld. The power of Neptune, the power of Pluto, his brother, are all connected to the necessity for the planet and for humankind to go to the bottom of the pit, to Kali Yuga. This is a representation of Orpheus holding the lyre. So this is the state of humanity at this point. And we are helped by the planets and the cosmic wheel going back, returning to the light. As a summary, the chart of the equinox is pointing at the fact that the divine, the cosmic consciousness that you are a part of, is pushing the energy towards the elimination of illusion, secrecy, and darkness. We need to open our hearts, our mind, to be able to take in more information and remove all the illusions, and especially with Neptune, the illusions of the past in terms of spirituality, their religion, therefore the way we communicate with the divine. This is the most important point of this presentation. Humanity must learn to connect directly with the heart mind of the Creator or with consciousness. Are we ready to stop the illusion, secrecy, spying? Well, the breakthrough is provided by Jupiter and Uranus. Jupiter propagates higher education, whether profane or esoterical, and a search for truth. The religions of the past, most of our belief system, the behaviors, are based on an impossible relationship with the divine. We need to change that and look at different aspects of our society that need to be changed. This is another level of secrecy and magic that was brought a few centuries ago. We'll evoke the story in a different video. This is part of changing our communication with the divine heart mind. If we want to support the present transits and really work through Neptune, Saturn, the old god, Yaweh, there is a lot for humankind to reassess. Our beliefs, the Bible, the old religions, who, what was there, what is it that we can still keep and feel in full harmony with the new understandings of science and eventually the understanding of the presence of alien civilizations in our life. How do we feel at this point about the Catholic Church? How do we feel about the old Orthodox Church? Are we going to continue giving them our power and dictating what we have to believe in? Can we still support all these retrograde, old-fashioned habits? Most importantly, we were told, and millions still believe, that at the turn of the Pisces era, Pisces ruled by Neptune, that a physical character visited Palestine and was the sign of God. Was it true? How can we communicate with the divine if it was not? There were eventually a few candidates for the role, yes, but they were only decoys. The divine couldn't be at the front of the scene. It had to be hidden. Timing is always the primary ingredient in the unfoldment of divine communication, divine purpose, as validated by astrology. So we are looking at the timing and adapting our understanding and behavior with what this chart is showing us. Planet Earth and humankind were still on the descending path towards Kali Yuga. The divine essence embodied, manifested, which is the meaning of Son of God, could not touch the ground. The physical expression of a god or creator could not land so far back in the precessional cycle. This is a big, big Neptunian lie. Back to the chart of the equinox. At the bottom, we see the square between Neptune, the old lies, secrecy, and the moon on the left. The moon is the ruler of Cancer. So we have represented here in red the axis Cancer-Capricorn. You probably remember, if you follow astrology, that all the big guys, Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, spend a lot of time clearing and connecting in the Capricorn. This axis is the axis of the old system of initiation, in which the soul enters the system through the Cancer, goes through the path of initiation, and ends up on the other side after traveling the Capricorn, ruled by the old god, Saturn. The soul enters the realm of the gods. So this is the journey that humankind went through, and we are finishing this journey by removing the illusions, looking under the ocean, and looking again at our own necessity through the retrograde planets. As for the divine is still clearing its consciousness and making peace with humankind, giving new data to allow new and better communication between heaven and earth. We do not want to offend anyone. We each have our own timing and state of consciousness. However, we all have to wonder, how much do we do to carry a frequency that is high enough to help to assist in the change? We have already mentioned the 2 Queen Sixes, these yellow lines here on the screen, showing that we have to make choices. We have to change the relationship between the old God and the solar God, Saturn and the Sun, and also participate in the alignment between Libra and Aries. So, more to think about. What are the belief systems that still need to be changed? I'm not the only one, but it is my intuition that we are dealing with heavy alien energy at this point. We have to wonder, how much can humanity take in? What is it going to take to debunk not only all the old religions, but also the beliefs or what the governments are willing to say about alien civilizations and our ongoing connection with them? Are we still teenagers in crisis? Is humankind in general, or is the new spiritual community still in crisis? Were the Anunnakis good, benevolent guides, or were they tyrants? How can we change our belief system in terms of our relationship with the cosmos and establish a good communication line with the rest of the galaxy? Gossip on the internet and the love for sensationalism brings us to wonder or express an intuition. Are we going into a major event brought by our own shadow government or an extraterrestrial faction? The Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in Taurus will, without any doubt, create a major kick. Uranus, being the sky, could hint at cosmic or ET influence. It has been my feeling. Let's see what comes next.